This is episode 131 of Seddy Bimco, part 2, The Revenge.
Halloween. Happy Halloween, all you little Halloweeners.
Happy Halloween. And 30. Yeah. 30 is today, right? 13
Yes,
and
today. Oh, wait. Synchronicity isn't just an album by the Police, Tim.
If you add up those numbers, what do you get?
3.
No.
Oh, no, 13, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome to Seddy Bimco, America's premier revenge-themed podcast.
And this week, you picked the movie for Halloween. What's it called?
I did. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
We'll get there in a minute, but I have an age-old question.
What's your age-old question, Tim?
And you complain they don't go with the theme. This is Halloween, right, George?
Yes, it is.
So there's an age-old question about revenge.
All right.
Did the clothes dryer ever get revenge on the frightening washing machine for scaring the sheets out of him? Dryer had sheets.
New Yorker cartoonist Tim Hamilton.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
All right.
I'm Tim Hamilton.
I'm George O'Connor. I'm not a New Yorker cartoonist.
This is Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. Oh, but George does graphic novels about Thor.
Oh, they know. Yeah. As we are speaking this, my newest book, As Guardians Book 2, Thor, is on bookshelves. Please go out and buy 10 copies apiece.
Cool. Or boycott them.
Or no, don't do that. Or yeah. Lodge a complaint about like the fact that this is displaying non-Judeo-Christian values, and my sales will escalate in states where people are literate. Do it.
Do it now.
Yep. What was I going to say?
This movie was made only 5 years after Star Wars. As on this show, I like to place the movies in time.
Wait, you're doing it right up front?
Yeah.
Wow.
Out of the way.
Okay.
Because we're doing a tour of the states, but you took us.
Yeah, we didn't even explain. We didn't explain what's like. Let me explain this part, because I got a little something to say.
Oh,
so
okay.
If you are a listener of Seddy Bimco, you know what we do week after week is we craft revenge sequels for movies that never had them. We're in the midst of a 50 plus state, because we're doing territories as well. A 50 state tour of the United States where we do a regional film from each state. And so as it so happens, it was my pick. We trade off, Tim and I got Halloween. I got Halloween last year. And let me just tell you all, last year I shat the bed with my pick.
It was a year without a Halloween.
Yeah, we're big on Bigfoot here at Seddy Bimco, and we'd had a lot of luck going to the ground of Charles Pierce and his various Boggy Creek related movies. And there was a Boggy Creek we never saw before called Return to Boggy Creek, and it sucked balls.
It did.
It was maybe a good episode because we were outraged, but like I can't imagine a less scary Halloween film. I think even Mayor Cupcake, previous Seddy Bimco film, had more moments of terror than that piece of shit. So
what was the bait called? I forget.
Catfish Kool-Aid.
Catfish Kool-Aid. That's what they attracted Sasquatch with. Yeah,
it was more about fishing with like weird stuff called. Movie sucked. Had young Laura Ingalls in it, but here's.
No.
So this year,
Dana Plato from Facts of Life, right?
Oh, you're right, huh?
Ooh, you get those confused.
Yeah. So I didn't want to have another terrible Halloween film because Halloween is my favorite holiday. It's Tim's second favorite holiday after President's Day, and so I'm like, I really want to have something. I don't want to like what one state could embody the awesomeness that is Halloween. So I had an inkling of the film I wanted to do, and. It was contingent on this one thing. We go to IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, to see where the film is filmed. Mm-hmm. And I clicked on the link, and sure enough, it just said plain old USA as one of the places it was filmed. So I pumped my fist in the air and said, yes.
What a cheat.
So this one representing the entirety of the United States, though there is that montage sequence, which is filmed all throughout the United States in this movie. So it's kind of a perfect film for this. They show Omaha, they show New York City, they show San Francisco, they show all these different places.
It's like hands across America.
It is like Hands Across America, an old reference. Tim makes old references, everybody. We are doing taking the break from the 50 Nifty. We are doing a celebration of the wonderful United States together with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Woo.
Yep.
I mean, boo.
Should I start with start with some USA facts?
Oh, we're gonna do facts?
A little bit.
God.
A little bit.
Go ahead.
All right. So the United States of America, that's the full name, is the third largest country in both size, both like the landmass. Only bigger. The only two countries bigger are Russia and Canada, and population. The only two countries bigger in that instance are China and India. America is named after Barbie actress America Ferrera, Ugly Betty herself.
Okay.
America declared its independence from England on July 4th, 1776, after hatching from a large eagle egg, which was laid by Ben Franklin.
Wow.
It has 50 nifty United States from 13 original colonies. We all know that. That's where we've been going on. Yep.
13. Unlucky 13.
Again, the 1-3. Oh,
Right,
man, Tim,
wow.
the synchronicities. The synchronicities.
I didn't plan this. I saw this movie of Season of the Witch when I was 13. Okay. Continue.
Did you really? Did you really?
I think so.
Guys, we could do the math. Well, actually, all right. So let's see. The motto of the United States is "You can't spell anus without USA."
That was
The
die.
official
Let die.
the official animal of the United States is a large pre-diabetic man with an AR-15 wearing basketball shorts.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And Tim, this one, I'm pivoting to you. The flag was designed by Betty Ross, better known as the girlfriend of the Incredible Hulk.
That's right. That's true.
Tim,
Deep
will
cut.
you deep cut? Will you rate that flag, Tim, as you often do?
Well, this flag's not bad, though.
Tell us it. Describe the flag of the United States.
How it looks now or when Betsy Ross knitted it.
Betty Ross. Get it right.
What I say?
Whichever you want to do, Tim. This is your bit.
My bit. Put me
Yeah.
on the spot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, how it looked when she originally sewed it.
Well, did she sew the snake one that says "Don't step on me or I'll bite you, fucker"?
Yeah.
She was
that was her
a
first
very
design,
violent woman. Yeah.
but the flag was the next design.
So
Her stars were originally 6-pointed. 13.
Oh, were they all pentagrams?
Yes, they're all pentagrams.
Nice.
No one knows that.
And Tim, you will be relieved to know I am not dealing with streetcars, elevators, or cryptids.
Okay.
Because we've handled that individually.
Me too.
So now, just unless you have any other USA facts to add on, I'm going to move on to facts about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Well, we were going to, last week we said we might list our 10 top favorite Halloween movies. We're going to do that at the end.
Boy, howdy, I
now.
forgot to do that.
We'll do it at the end when you think of things.
Okay, instead of paying attention to this episode, I'll be writing down my top scary movies, folks.
Why don't I just tell you mine, and then you'll agree or you'll switch.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'll agree or disagree with them. All right.
So
Number 10, Tim.
I go back in time. Freaks, original Freaks by Todd Browning.
Todd Browning. Disagree. It's a great movie, not scary at all. Go on.
Then I skip the 50s and go right to Psycho.
Okay.
40s and the 50s. And also The Birds I put in there. That's pretty terrifying when you're a kid.
And The Birds, huh? Starring Roar's own previous Seddy Bimco, Tippi Hedren.
Yep. And then go into what was this, 69 or 70? Night of the Living Dead.
I think that is 69.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Then my next, these are no particular order. Then Texas Chainsaw.
Sounds like they're in date order. Good one.
Texas Chainsaw. Then Alien.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, the first one.
The first one. Oh, not Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
The Thing by John Carpenter.
All right.
I watched 2 Carpenter movies on there. And in the 90s, was this 90? Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
The Lambs. Or The Crying Game, because I saw that came around the same time. And when I saw that, a few guys ran out of the theater when they saw a penis. So I think that was a scary movie for them. That really happened. And I
believe it.
Barbarian for 2022. Have you seen Barbarian?
Remind me of that one, the title. That's that more recent one, right?
Yeah, 2022.
Oh, you literally said that. Yeah, I've seen Barbarian.
20. Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good list, Tim. Out of that, I would say I don't know if the original Halloween makes onto my list. It might. But Alien certainly is on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I got to put The Shining on there. I know you hate it. You hate it so much.
If Kubrick has a scary movie, it's called Eyes Wide Shut.
If Kubrick has a scary movie, it's called Doctor Strangelove. But no, The Shining. Yeah, the Thing is definitely there. That's like right up at the top. Also, so is Alien. Those two ones are pretty neck and neck for me. I'm gonna put on. It's a bit of a comedy, but Shaun of the Dead is a well I never get tired of returning to. That's my comfort film.
Scary?
I think there's some legit scares in that movie.
All right. It's a comedy.
Yeah, but so is Barbarian.
Nobody saw that. It got short shrift, I think.
I'm trying to think what else I would have in there. I'll come back to that. But let's
Zapruder? Is that one?
Yeah, the Zapruder film, the Patterson Gimlin film.
That's not scary.
The Star Wars Holiday Special. That video where the kid is drinking an entire thing of seltzer water, and he goes, "What do I do? What do I do?" He runs around and runs into his garage door and burps. That one's pretty scary.
What? I don't know if I remember that.
Oh man, that in my household with my wife and I, that is a constant reference. Gosh, what else? What else? You know, at once upon a time, it would have been Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola one, but I've not seen it in so long I can't attest to it anymore.
I don't think that was frightening.
I think it's bad, but like it was a fun bad. Let's talk about Season of the Witch.
Okay.
All right, so
when I was a kid.
Yeah, when you were a kid, 13, you saw this movie. So it came out in 1982.
Listen.
Yep.
When they give you HBO for free, like they do now, like give you stuff for free, and like you want to sign up. When that HBO first came out, they'd give you HBO in our area for free. They show you all these cool movies, and after you paid for it, it was just like Halloween 3 and Grease 2 constantly on rotation. Just, or your Hunter from the Future. That one too.
Say they did the old bait and switch, and you're saying this was not a good. I'm going to say I think this is a very good movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So here's the deal behind this, just in case you're wondering. So like, if you're familiar with Halloween, which you probably are, because they're literally still making these movies. The first Halloween came out in 1978, directed by John Carpenter. It's an amazing movie, written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. It introduces Mike Myers, one of the great, slashers of all time, right?
Yeah.
And then it does so well, or the comedian from Saturday Night Live. It does so well that a few years later, I think 3 years later, 1981, there's a second Halloween made, but this time it's only written by Carpenter and Deborah Hill because he did not want to get stuck doing the stories of Mike Myers forever.
Yeah.
And so it was directed by a guy named Rick Rosenthal instead. And he's like, and the deal John Carpenter works out with the studio, which I want to say is Universal, is like, all right, we'll do a direct sequel to the first one. I do this under duress because what I really envision Halloween as being is an anthology film series. And every Halloween, every year, we'll have a new film. It'll be about a different thing. Each of these could be on a different subject. They could have their own independent sequels and stuff. But after this one, we're going to do this anthology. So 1982's Season of the Witch, the one we're watching, the one we're doing today, was the first and really only installment of this anthology. Written, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, but I have to say, which made it pretty exciting to me, still has John Carpenter doing music.
Yeah.
With a guy named Alan Howarth. Yeah, there's some. And here's my first list.
Oh, my God. Wow. You didn't even tell the plot of the movie. Do you need to do that or no?
No. So all you need to know, this is Season of the Witch, and that it was successful, but not successful enough that the idea was shelved to make more standalone sequels like this. And then eventually, I think it's in like 87, they bring back The Return of Mike Myers. And that's literally what it's called, like Halloween 4, The Return of Mike Myers. So, but I actually was doing some digging around on the deep web, as I do, and I actually found, this is for real, Tim. Tommy Lee Wallace, the director of this film, actually listed what some of the projected films are going to be, taking us up through Halloween 10.
Oh, no.
Are you ready for this?
Okay.
All right. So Halloween 4. So Halloween 3, which we did get. We'll start there. Season of the Witch. Halloween 4 was going to be called Period of the Pumpkins.
Okay.
Halloween 5, a crossover with another Universal property, Time of the Tribbles. That was for you, Tim.
Thank you.
Halloween 6, The Curse of Rob Schneider. Different Saturday Night Live cast member. Halloween 7, Halloweeners. Just actual hollow penises everywhere. That's what it was called.
Wow.
Halloween 8,
Yeah.
Loose Smarties and Candy Corn. Oh, gross.
Oh, you
Halloween-
on the rug, on the carpet, you mean?
Just in the bag, bottom of the bag, the worst candy left over. Halloween 9, no one understands my ironic costume. And Halloween
That's the
X,
German one, too. Halloween
That's true.
9.
9, Halloween, no more. And Halloween X would have been Season of the Witch 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yep.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Surprised me now.
Yep. I'll surprise you by talking about the movie. Just like the first two Halloween movies, it opens up with a view of a jack-o'-lantern, though this one is a computer jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, it's digital.
Well,
it's
a digital pumpkin.
I know, I saw that.
It was kind of cool. I will say, I really wish, because I'll be honest, I don't need any of those Halloween sequels to exist beyond the first one.
No.
Like, I've seen other ones and I've enjoyed them, but I'm always at the end, I'm like, yeah, let's just have only the one. And so I really wish we lived in the universe where where the anthology went, because that'd be really cool. Every year there'd be a movie called Halloween. It would have some other way of showing pumpkins. It'd be neat. So we're seeing this weird digital pumpkin, state of the art computer graphics for 1982. So it's like blocky as shit, but it's still cool.
But George, I did copy the synopsis. Should I read the synopsis for this?
Yeah.
No, it's just brief. We always try every week.
Oh, we didn't do a synopsis. You're right at all. Yeah, go for it.
When a terrified toy salesman is mysteriously attacked and brought to the hospital, babbling and clutching the year's most popular Halloween costume, an eerie pumpkin mask, Dr. Daniel Chalice is thrust into a terrifying Halloween nightmare. Working with the salesman's daughter, Ellie, Daniel traces the mask to the Silver Shamrock Novelty Company and its founder, Cochran. There's the
Nice.
names.
Yeah, that's good to get those names in, especially because, actually I did write it. I was like, I couldn't remember Dr. Chalice's first name. So yeah, we get a little a subtitle on the screen that says October 23rd, 1982.
Yes.
Northern California. And we see this guy running down the street, like just booking it, like panting. And that is who Tim mentioned, Harry. I wrote his name. His name is Harry Grimbridge.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that funny? That means her name was Ellie Grimbridge. And he's running down the street. It's night. He's got this thing in his pocket or stick of his belt. You're like, what does he want, a fanny pack on? No, it's the jack-o'-lantern mask. And he's being pursued by these like straight-laced guys wearing suits who move in a very robotic way. So immediately you're like, I think them guys is robots. And he goes to this guy Walter's junk shop or whatever the hell it is. I couldn't decide what that shop sold.
It looked like a construction site, but I don't know.
Yeah, it did, but it was like a shop. I don't know. And Walter, who has an impressive chin, I will say. That guy's chin was...
I wasn't looking at his chin.
I couldn't help but notice it was so big. He was watching TV, and on the TV there's a little bit of the news mentioning that the blue rock from Stonehenge is missing and nobody knows what happened to it.
Is that what that said? I just said, oh, Stonehenge. I never caught that before. Oh my God.
That's cool, right?
But no, that's just... Yes, but I have a lot of complaints about this movie. But anyway.
Okay. I mean, there's this movie is...
plot contrivance on top of plot contrivance. It's
there's just some stuff that happens in this movie. So like, it's like, oh, maybe it's a car repair shop because there's all these cars on like basically this one guy in suit is choking the fuck out of Harry, and he's on the ground and like there's a car nearby and he's up against another car and he pulls out the tire block and the car rolls forward.
They're called
and
chucks.
Just crushes Chucks. He pulls out the chuck and the car rolls forward and it crushes the guy choking him and he gets up. And he's
And he runs away. He gets to the gas station.
Yep. And Walter finds him, and why does Harry collapse? Just because of the being choked, I guess?
He gets to the gas station. He's like, he just collapses out of exhaustion. Right?
I guess, he was choked for a while by like a really strong guy in the suit. So this guy, Walter, takes him to the hospital Walter, I thought there's gonna be more from him because he's acting dodgy as fuck. He's like, I brought him to the hospital. I'm not getting in trouble for this, right?
He was just afraid. He ran away.
Like, you're not going to get in trouble for like dropping a guy. Like, but we're cool. I could leave, right? Like, I'm not going to get in trouble. Like, I'm like, Walter is definitely a serial killer. Like, right? No. He's definitely.
Well, I don't mean to bring it down, but I think he was a black man bringing in a wounded white guy. So I was thinking,
that's probably true.
Sadly, he's like,
I
didn't do it.
A little bit of social commentary, which this movie had a bit of. Now, I want to read this bit.
We do hear that damn jingle the first time. 8 more days till Halloween.
Oh, we do hear it at this point?
On the TV, the gas station guy was watching.
No, 8 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 8 more days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Yes. I'm going to set this up now because I'm going to forget to say it otherwise. There are these ads for these masks that are playing on the TV. Whenever you see TV by Silver Shamrock, it's got this weird kid's head going back and forth. And then you see these 3 masks. It is a skeleton, a witch, and a pumpkin, just like the one that Harry was carrying. And they keep saying they have this countdown to Halloween, and they say there's going to be a big giveaway at 9:00 on Halloween. So make sure you're there, kids.
And then we all somewhere in here we cut to our hero, Dr. Chalice, kind of hero.
Yeah, can I read the line that I took directly from Wikipedia because I was interested by this line?
Okay.
Harry is taken to a hospital and placed in the care of Dr. Daniel Chalice, an alcoholic doctor who has a strained relationship with his ex-wife and 2 children. Is he ever established to be alcoholic?
No.
I don't think he takes a single drink in this movie.
Oh, he does go to the bar once, but there's no time.
Does he?
Yes, I wrote it down because he goes into the bar, and cartoons are on. Do you remember this? It's like, hey, can I get something else on the TV besides cartoons? And
you're right. It's like a weird dancing plant thing. Yeah.
The bartender puts on football, and the bartender's like, "You want to watch football? Don't want to watch cartoons?" It was really weird.
Cartoons are cool. Okay, so I just feel like whoever's in Wikipedia had an axe to grind with this guy. Like, he's an alcoholic.
He was a bad person. He was not a great person.
No, but I liked him.
He's kissing every woman he met. He's like, thanks, honey. Do this for me.
This dude's a player. It's interesting to see as the hero, he is such a player because so actually I realized before we meet him in the hospital, we meet him visiting his kids.
Because he gives them the masks. And those
kids gives them the masks.
Way too excited about those masks.
All the kids. I mean, okay, these are like
who would want these? You know what was? I got the top masks that year, George.
Oh, what are they?
Only 3.
Oh.
These are the real masks the kids would have been excited about. Mr. T,
Mr. T,
E.T.,
E.T.,
and Tina Turner. There you go.
Boo.
Oh, also the other ones were The Thing from the movie The Thing, and The Swamp Thing. Or also Thing from the Addams Family, who was having a resurgence in popularity.
But no, Ben Grimm, The Thing.
Oh, my God. How'd you know? Yeah, I'm Ben Grimm, The Thing for the Fantastic Four.
I had a suspicion.
He wasn't popular that year, George.
I bet you they had a cartoon on that
more
year.
Human Torch. Like, he was popular.
Oh, all the kids were setting themselves on fire.
Oh, God.
Reference to John Byrne's run on Fantastic Four. So yeah, we see him in his house, and we do see he has a somewhat cordial relationship with his ex-wife, and his 2 kids just are watching the TV, and they're like, "Stop sitting so close to the TV, it'll ruin your eyes." And then we hear the jingle again. Tim, play the jingle, please.
I'm not playing this. People turn this off.
No, they won't. This is important.
Okay.
It helps. It helps set the. Okay. All right.
But that's the nicest we hear the mom. They make her out as a harpy. Because throughout the movie, he calls her, and all you hear on the phone is me, 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 me. Just like it's from the cartoon.
She gets because he has this. He's supposed to take the kids that night, assuming the mom has a hot date. And for the circumstances of this movie, and it's actually what's ironic. It's totally reasonable why he's not picking these kids up. This guy is brought into a web of intrigue and craziness, but this woman is done with his shit. Apparently, because he's an alcoholic, maybe. And just
every time he's on the phone with her, though, he looks at other guys. It's my wife. What do you want me to do? He makes that yappy thing with his hands.
But anyway. You are right. He is a player because, like, to get a little bit of spoilers, there is a romantic interest, which we'll talk about at length. But even his nurse at the hospital, he's like, I should have married you, and puts his arm around her. That's like more of a friendly flirting.
Yeah.
But then there's the woman, the coroner, who he's definitely sleeping with her on the side. This guy, and I just want to say, I read some funny reviews. They said he looks like your gym coach. He looks like he's got big, like he's not like a hunk. Yeah. He is so familiar to me. And I was like, I know I've seen this guy in a million things. And I went through his IMDb, and the only movie I could actually conclusively, he's in a lot of John Carpenter stuff. Mm-hmm. But the only thing I really totally remember him from is, if you've ever seen the original Creep Show, he's the dad who throws the kids' comics away in the bridging sequence.
Oh, okay.
But
that's been a long time.
I know. I mean, I feel like I've seen him in stuff more often than that. Because this guy, I'm like, this guy has played an important. I've seen a lot of movies with this dude in it.
Well, they call our doctor to move it along because they got.
Oh yeah, they get to the hospital. The guy's like,
you see what room? I wrote it down. What room he's in? They put the patient. What room? 13. I swear it's 13. Look it up, people.
Crazy.
So he can't talk. Oh, he does say that they're coming to kill us. What's he say?
I think he says they're going to kill us all.
He says.
I was hoping you had to remember, but he wakes up suddenly and yells that
Playboys in my car. That's what he said.
You know what, Tim? I want to take a brief break to mention
waters. Not Misty, Precious Waters.
I've discovered something about it. So the other day I was trying to fall asleep and I couldn't. So I listened to a couple episodes of Seddy Bimco. Oh, no. Put me out like a baby. But I did notice I went to sleep on one episode and you were talking about a fictional Playboy. I woke up to another episode. You were talking about a different fictional Playboy. And I'm like, Tim, this is a real predilection for you.
No, it's called a continuing bit.
No, it's always you're finding them like it's in a tree house, an abandoned store. I'm like, this is Tim's childhood.
But you know,
breaking into places and finding used smut and just dreaming about these women and like their vices and their loves and yeah.
So they take care of him and leave him alone, and those robot acting dudes show up and kill him. They kill in gross ways. Like
what a weird. I want to describe this death. It is so weird.
They pinch his head.
He comes up and he stands in front of him wearing a suit. He puts his hand over his mouth so he can't scream. And then he digs his fingers into his eyes, hooks them around so it's on the inside of his forehead or his nose bone.
Yeah.
And just pulls forward until and the guy's head is distended and he kills him. And you see a twitch. I'm like, that is gruesome.
I know. These robots are very inefficient, I think. They're just like
no, they're not. They're definitely not. There's some ways they're efficient, which we'll hear more about later. But their way of murdering stuff, and then the one nurse comes in and she's screaming, and Dr. Chalice is chasing the guy into the parking lot, and the guy walks into a car, pours himself full of gasoline, and blows up himself in the car.
Also inefficient. Draws more attention to yourself.
So much more attention. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, if he is in fact a robot, because this guy sure does act like a robot, aren't they going to find his burnt exoskeleton?
No, we see that. It's like, I don't know. They're made of clockwork pieces, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that shortly.
Oh, spoilers.
So then so he calls his wife, his ex-wife, I can't come. 2 people just died. She's like, yeah, you're so bad. Pick up the garbage. You piece of shit. Ah.
He's like, they used to call us the Lockhorns. It's my ex-wife.
Oh. I wonder, back then, Tim, it was probably still the original creative team of just plain old Bill Host, not Bunny Host and John Reiner.
Friends of yours.
People who I've asked repeatedly for us to stop making fun of because I've met them on several occasions.
I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying. So he shows the doctor the pile of ashes. This other doctor. This what do you call it?
Oh man, Tim, I laughed at myself because I wrote in the notes. What is it? I couldn't remember the name for fucking coroner. I wrote the stupidest thing. Where is it?
Dead person examiner.
I literally wrote something like that.
Corpse whisperer.
Oh, her name is Teddy, and I wrote the dead person analyzer.
Dead person analyzer.
And I'm like, he asks her, and she's like, she's a pretty cute lady, and he's like, yeah, I love your dinners, I'll buy you dinner, you get your dinner. And he's like, he's like, hey, can you? I know there's another guy supposed to do it. Can you do me a favor? Like, this was really weird. Can you do a quick analysis of like this guy who blew up this dude?
Yeah,
she's
this
like,
guy who's ashes now.
Okay, and she just has like ashes display. So we'll
this guy, this pile of ash. She says, did you hear? She said, this guy's like Bob Dylan. He's blowing in the wind. That's what he said. So
I don't know if that's. I hope that's an actual line because I don't think I have the strength in me for you to do old man jokes about Bob Dylan for the next 40 episodes, which I feel like this could be the beginning of. All right.
So then he goes to the bar, and I already told you what happened there.
Yeah, but what was the purpose of that scene?
This woman looking at the ashes every time he calls her 3 times in the movie, and she's still just sitting there looking at the ashes. If you remember,
yeah,
and then
every time she's like the first time she's like, I don't know, I think they screwed up. I can't find any bone. Second time she's like, I think they just grabbed car. There's no bone here. And third time she's like, gears. And then
she goes, and then yeah, she's murdered.
And then we'll spoilers that we're cutting way to the end, folks. He goes to the bar for honestly reasons I do not know, except for maybe just to show that
George. Have we read this?
I guess he's an alcoholic according to Wikipedia.
And Ellie shows up.
The next day,
well,
Ellie
comes there. No, she comes to the bar. Remember?
No,
she walks into the bar. I remember that they have her walk in, and as she's a silhouette.
Oh, and then they go to check out.
What did my father say? He said, I loved Ellie very much. And she goes, well, he's a damn liar. And she walks away.
No, she says, you're a terrible liar. And then he takes her to identify the body.
You're a damn liar. That's what he said. I'm sticking to it.
All right, Tim. So he takes Ellie, and I just want to mention Ellie is this babe. Mm-hmm. The actor's name. Did you read about this actor?
Oh, nope, I did not.
Oh, Tim, delicious. Her name is Stacey Nelkin, and she was the inspiration for Woody Allen's film Manhattan.
Whoa.
Here's what we're going to read.
That Manhattan beat out Star Wars Oscar that year.
Really? Because Manhattan is 1979 and Star Wars is 1977. What? Are you thinking Annie Hall?
Annie Hall, George.
Okay.
Annie Hall. I re-edited.
Well, here, it's all going to fit together, Tim. Woody Allen's film Manhattan, according to Nelkin, was based on her romantic relationship with the director, whom she met when she was 16 on the set of Annie Hall.
This is not fun.
Her bit part in that film ended up being cut, and their relationship began when she was 17 years old and a student at New York Stuyvesant High School, and Allen was 42. Mm-hmm. Allen has said that they dated for a time, but that Nelkin was not underage.
Okay. Technically.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen Manhattan, which comes out 2 years after this.
Oh, yeah.
Where he, what is he, Alvy Singer then? Or is that him and, I forget, maybe that's him and Annie Hall, where he's dating the high school student. Right. It's like fucked up shit. Yeah. Also, I figured I would do the math and just see if she was underage or not. But it turns out her actual birth date is not published anywhere.
Ooh. Interesting.
Her Wikipedia page just has years active, 75 to current.
Did
whatever.
She disappear? She's still around?
No, she's still around, and she looks pretty amazing for a woman her age.
I'll bet you Woody Allen paid her to take her birthday off the internet. Because I shouldn't say that. That's bad.
Well, I think we can say bad things about Woody Allen. I think we're okay to say.
But she would do it. That's I feel bad for her that she.
Oh yeah, I don't think she maybe would. I think she seems that she has some ideals about this stuff. So anyway, that's super interesting.
Yeah,
so
that's one word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's immediate heat between Ellie and
because she's sad her dad has got his head crushed.
Which he's like, He even says when he shows by, he's like, maybe we should wait a little bit because he knows what she's going to see. She's like, no, let me see. We don't actually see the view. She looks at the thing. She's like, oh. But she has a reaction to seeing your dad's head. Like if somebody pulled a chunk of it out, like it's yeah. So the two of them, I just have to get this part out. It's super important, Tim.
Okay.
They decide they're going to they immediately, I'm impressed when like, I hate movies when they really drag their feet about like, I don't believe anything weird's here. Like Chalice is immediately like, yeah, this is fucking weird. And also this lady's a babe. So the two of them decide that they're going to, he knows about the mask. He tells her about the mask.
They know the address because they have the address. Her father was a salesman for the mask in his store.
Yeah, he was a toy salesman. And so they know that there was something connected to this. So they go to Santa Mira, California, which is hometown of the Silver Shamrock Novelties factory, which made the mask.
Yep.
Beginning, folks, you wouldn't think this is a movie that is the most racist thing I've ever seen against Irish, but it is.
It kind of is.
So we'll get there.
But another thing, George, I don't know if I should list them at the end. It doesn't make sense in this movie. Why ship all these? Why the Irish in California?
It's very weird,
Can't
right?
they kill children in Ireland? How many children did they have to kill? I don't understand. Anyway.
Okay, I get the spoilers, but I get that you would go to California because the United States, it's a much bigger market.
I guess so.
Ireland, there's like what, 7 people in Ireland? Like, there's more people of Irish descent living in America than there is in Ireland. So if you want to get the max amount of people, you go to the commerce nation. You're like, especially at the time, yeah, that's the place.
But George, as we already said, someone stole one of the monoliths at Stonehenge. And again, spoilers, they brought it all the way to California somehow.
They waved their hand with that. It's like, he goes, oh, let me tell you, it was quite a big deal getting that. And that's all we hear about it.
I know.
So Santa Mira, California is apparently like the ass end of California. You wouldn't think the most populous state in the United States has an ass end to this degree, but everyone there is like, it's so far away from everything. Right. They go there and there's this one motel, which is owned by an Irish stereotype that's in town.
He says, you come to the right place, laddie.
He smokes a corncob pipe. He keeps going, oh, is that a leprechaun? He's always chewing on potatoes. It's drunk as hell. What else? But
there are cameras watching them everywhere in this town, which back then was supposed to be creepy, but it's like, it's everywhere today.
It's a little bit ahead of the time. Yeah, so this town, it's a small town that only exists for the Silver Shamrock.
Oh, and
we learn a few things. Yeah, which makes the masks. We learned that this guy, Cochran, is the guy. Everybody talks about him. So we learn stuff like we see his car pull in and things, but we don't see him yet. So we know like the only reason people exist in this town is for this
making
thing.
Masks.
Everyone who's staying at this motel are people who are so desperate to get copies of this mask, like toy store owners, that they're coming there to pick up.
2 teams, George. The guy with the annoying family and kid, they won a prize because they sold the most. And there's a woman.
Buddy and Buddy Jr. And then Marge is the other lady.
Marge just like, I need more masks. So I'm going to spend my day. Like, again, another thing in the plot, if someone doesn't send you your order, you just call and get mad. I mean, you don't have time to go chase down orders yourself.
Well, no, she has a line where she's like, they got so big that the small people get left out. And the only way I find to deal with it is you have to do it in person. And I hate dealing with people in person, but what are you going to do? Marge talks about it. It makes sense. I just wouldn't
order it, George. I just wouldn't order the masks.
You don't understand. Tim, we see a montage scene of the entire United States of all the children wearing costumes. Again. And every single kid in America is wearing either the skull mask, the pumpkin mask, or the witch mask.
But that year, it just would have been Mr. T, George. It wouldn't.
This is a universe where Mr. T never happened.
Or Star Wars, or E.T., or Star Trek. It was
in between. First off,
Dr.
Star
McCoy.
Trek was
so many
Star
Dr.
Trek,
McCoys out there.
Star Trek was never popular. I hate to break it to you. This is between years for Star Wars. Everyone's on a bit of a downer because Empire's come out and they're like, I can't support it. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
Sure, it does.
So,
so they go to the hotel. That's when they're right away. Like, I should get another bed. And then she's just like, why?
Well, they are pretending to be a married couple, but he's like, he's like, yeah, I should get another bed. She goes, won't that look suspicious? He's like, but where do you want me to sleep? She's like, where do you want me to sleep? He's like, well, that's a stupid question. And he puts his big old man face all over her and starts kissing her.
She's so sad that her dad had his head crushed.
Which I'm like, this woman is 24 hours out of this of seeing her dad's head squished. Like, maybe give her some room for some grieving, buddy. And so we mercifully cut away at this point, and he's walking around town where there is a curfew, and he meets a local drunk. And local drunk's like, let me tell you something. When that guy Cochran came to town, he didn't hire any local people.
All the dirty Irish.
He brought in all these. He brought in all these Irish people, and it's all these. So even me, I can't get a job. Could I help drink your wine?
Yes.
And then he proclaims, he's like, he's filming you up there. He points to the cameras because this is a surveillance state, and he's like, this is the last year it's gonna happen because I'm gonna Molotov cocktail the factory. So at this point, Dr. Chalice is like, you know what? You're a drunk. I'm going to get away from you. He goes back to the hotel where he's got a babe waiting. And then these guys in suits show up and they like immediately murder.
They rip his head off.
Pull his head off as if
that's the Irish for you, George.
Typical Irish style. They grab his hair and just lift up his head like it was attached by chewing gum. It comes right off.
Again, these robots are just inefficient.
Yep. And then back in the hotel room, we see a little bit of a shower scene. We don't really see her fully naked. We see some good silhouette action. And she's like weirdly getting dressed underneath. I'm like, what is the purpose of the scene except for to be prurient? And then he comes in and she's wearing like lingerie, and he climbs.
He comes back.
Well, you got to figure they already had sex once when they kissed.
That's what I mean.
But then they're
back and
they have sex again, because he even asked her at one point. He's like, don't you ever get tired? She goes, no. And he goes, wait. And he's like, you see this moment of terror. She goes, don't worry, I'm legal. Which, that wasn't even the script. That's just something she would keep having to say to Woody Allen.
Yes, that's where this came from. It inspired that movie. Wow. I
was also, the actor, like, literally sucked her boob at one point. I'm like,
I know.
Guy. Have some decency. This is just a young actor trying to make her way in the world. Don't put your big mustachioed face there. So before she had her boob sucked, Ellie had a run in with this lady, Marge, that we discussed. She's the one who runs into a small toy store and is like, I just can't get my masks. I'm here to get my masks. So she's hanging out in the room next door in the motel. And she notices that for one of the masks she has, the medallion. Each of these masks has a big Silver Shamrock like tag on the back. Yeah. And this medallion fell off the back.
It's got circuit.
And she's like, what the? And she's looking at it and she's poking at it. And suddenly a fucking laser beam shoots out. And like it's like a lightsaber, like hits her right in the face. Yep. And this is a disturbing sequence because she's still alive. Effect. It's good. Her face is like, she has a big semi-cauterized wound halfway in her face. Her eyes are all bloodshot. She's like literally going, While next door, while Ellie's getting her boobs sucked on, she's like, what was that? He's like, who cares? And then we come back, and then
stupid.
Dude, where did you get that actual boob from? You just used to make that was weird. So the woman's face is all like mutilated and whatnot, and then like weirdly a bug crawls out of it. You're like, what?
That was the best part of the movie, George.
Yeah, really? You think that was?
Because I can't get my mind around this mask plot. Now I know it's a medallion. Would that be easier to sell medallions or something? What's with the masks?
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess it sounds like you maybe missed a few bits. So maybe as we go through this, you'll pick a little bit more up. Okay. Shortly thereafter, ambulances pull up, or like a bunch of people pull up. They're not really an ambulance. Nope. And the Dr. Chalice runs out with Ellie, and Ellie's like, that must be Marge. I met her at the parking lot. He's like, I'm a doctor. Let me see. And like all these dudes, there's like 7 or 8 guys. They just like throw her in the back of a van, Marge. Yep. It's a Silver Shamrock van. And Colonel Cochran's there. And she's like, where are you taking him? I'm a doctor. It's like, there's no hospital near here. They're like, we're taking her to the factory. He has like a kind of Irish accent. Maybe I'm not going to try it. No. We're taking her to the factory. We have a great clinic there for this sort of thing.
Played by a famous actor I should have looked up. He's been in a lot of things.
Something O'Hurley, Dan O'Hurley or something. Yeah. And he is an Irish actor, and he was apparently doing a Cork accent. He's like, you could tell if I had fun doing a movie if I'm doing a Cork accent. And like, you're doing a Cork accent in this movie. He's like, exactly. So he had a good time. Good for him.
Oh,
And the doctor's like, you don't let me see her? Like, you're taking her not to a hospital? She looks like she's probably dead. And he hears them saying, Cochran saying to a guy, what happened? It was a misfire.
yeah.
He's like, what the fuck? What's a misfire? Huh?
Yep. So then they go on a tour of the building next day because
although he does call Teddy the dead person analyzer, and she's like, all I see are circuits. There's kids. I don't know what's going on here. When are we gonna have sex?
I just found a big ash hole. I don't know. There could have been a guy here.
There's no bones anywhere. You think there'd be bones? Like, we get it, movie. So next movie, they're at the hotel and.
No, they go to the factory to get their.
Oh, they go to the
order.
factory.
They're pretending
to get their
find
order
out where their dad's order was, and they replace it for free. And then the winners, it's like Willy Wonka now. The winners have sold the most masks. They get to go on a tour of the factory, and they invite Chalice and Ellie along.
Yeah,
Very
the guy
convenient.
looks like the winner guy. His name is Buddy. He looks like an overweight, like old.
He's like
Alec Baldwin.
cousin Eddie. Is his name Eddie on American Vacation?
Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid looks like Randy Quaid, doesn't he?
I thought he looked like an overweight Alec Baldwin. Maybe the two of them were mixed. I didn't pick up his wife's name, but he's also with his son Buddy Jr. They're so excited. Like
He just treats his wife like, "Let's go." Grabs her arm. Sit down.
She's bemused, but they're excited because they see this as their way of being rich. They're like, we're going to make so much money from this. The little boy, Buddy Jr., is excited because he's like, oh boy, these 3 masks are so exciting. And because, Dr. Chalice and Ellie are such charming people, they kind of ingratiate themselves with this guy and get invited along to this tour. Even though Cochran, he's kind of like going like, I don't trust you, I don't. But
Cochran.
Yep.
Cochran in Star Trek, he discovered the warp drive.
I know that. Ephraim Cochran.
Yep.
Played by Babe's own James Cromwell.
One of 2 people that played him because he was in the original series.
Oh, who played him in the original series? Was it Ted Danson?
He wasn't. I think he was like 12-year-old maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Original. Anyway.
So they take a tour, which I'm pretty sure this tour is literally the special. Oh, you know what it is, actually?
That's what I thought. It's where they made the mask for the movie.
You know what? And did you read about how they made the mask? They actually, famous Don Post masks?
Yep.
They asked them to make it. So it's probably just Don Post's factory.
Might be.
Yeah, so they do the tour, and the little boy's like, a pumpkin mask. I'm going to stick it on my dumb, ugly face. And Cochran grabs no, don't do that one yet. It hasn't had final processing. And the mom's like, what does it mean, final process? No, Buddy Senior's like, what does it mean, final processing?
Yeah.
And the mom's like, what do I know? I just want a cocktail. So,
but he says, volatile chemicals for masks. We can't show you that.
Yeah, there's a room that says final processing. You can't go in there. It's like
volatile chemicals for kids' masks.
Yeah. So we're gonna stick all our kids' heads are gonna be trapped in this thing that we're not even allowed to go in the room for. That seems toxic. So and Dr. Chalice is like, I really want to get in there, but he can't because he sees that there's just everywhere. There's these dudes in suits.
Yep.
So they're outside now. The tour is officially ended.
They find
the little boy.
Oh.
The little boy does get a mask at this point that is finally processed. And Ellie sees her dad's car in an open garage, a green station wagon.
Yep. And then we hear the Shamrock song.
She runs up and tries to speak to it, and it creates a scene, which is probably not good.
Speak to the car?
To see, because she's like, Mr. Carr. No, she tries. It's Kit from Knight Rider. No, she goes up to see the car, and the guys won't let her. And Dr. Chalice is like, Ellie, those guys look a lot like the guys who took your dad's head and pulled it to pieces.
Yeah.
And then she got really turned on, and they had more boob sex after that.
Speaking.
Yep.
Kit, Knight Rider.
Yes.
Hasselhoff.
Yes.
Do you remember what I sent you?
No.
It's so insane. Why is David Hasselhoff in Germany? He sings concerts and he drives out on stage and Kit. You didn't watch what I sent you. I sent you a clip
I didn't.
of it.
No, I missed this. But
and
I know
he gets
that
out of Kit and he sings these German songs and there's a whole German orchestra there and everybody's going nuts.
I know from way back in the day, like Baywatch times or before even, he was a huge pop star in Germany.
Before Baywatch times.
he's always been. That's like the 90s.
Yes.
He was always a huge pop star in Germany. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Germany, eh?
Yep. Germany.
Well, they break back in at night. That's basically the plan.
Well, no, Ellie gets kidnapped first, doesn't she?
That too. Yeah. Ellie gets
back
kidnapped.
at the hotel. Ellie gets kidnapped, and so Dr. Chalice breaks back in.
Because they chase them. They're chasing.
Yeah. Because at this point, the gig is like Cochran was already like, I'm wise to you, and then they're yelling about the car, and he's like, we're gonna disappear them loose ends. Ellie gets kidnapped. Daniel Chalice chases after. He gets in a weird fist fight with one of these guys. He punches him in the face. He goes, "Oh God!" Then he pulls out his wires.
Yeah, pulls his wires out.
It reminded me very much, this whole sequence. Actually, a lot of this film reminded me of another one of my favorite films. It would not give me my scary films.
When
it does look like Aliens when like Ash is like vomiting milk.
Yeah.
These guys look like they more feel like egg yolk, like yellowy.
Yeah.
Just the whole bit. It reminds me very much of World's End.
World's End?
Edgar Wright film?
Yep.
Yeah, with the aliens taking over the small town or robots. Yeah.
So if Cochran can build, that's another thing. If he can build the army of robots, I mean, how much stuff can this guy do? He could have sold these robots to the military and killed a bunch of people for.
But that's not his goal. Is not. So there is a little bit which we should mention because I guess it's explained why he has such advanced robotics. There is a bit when the doctor is skulking around the factory. He sees like an old woman knitting. And he like hits it, and it's like a robot with like a head. It
was a Betsy Ross.
It's a Betty Ross, and she's going, has anyone seen Bruce Banner or my dad, Thunderbolt Ross?
She's knitting pentagrams into the flag.
Yep. And that's shortly before he gets captured, and like Cochran's like, oh, that's one of the first robots made in Germany. Automatons, yes. I'll miss it. And then he notices him. So he's like, he does his supervillain thing. He's like, okay, I'm going to tell you stuff I shouldn't tell you. He goes, they tie Chalice to a chair, him and the robots, the automatons. On different computer screens on the TV screens in front of him, we see the body of Marge, the dead lady. He's like, she's dead.
Well,
we see.
Wait, you jumped ahead. Although I know we're trying to get to the end, but the family is put into test room A.
Oh, I was getting to that. We see this. We see this part.
Marge. Marge.
Ellie. Marge is the lady. No, Marge is the lady who died at the hotel with the laser in her face.
Yeah.
We see her body on a slab.
I didn't see.
Then we see Ellie sleeping, and then finally we see the Buddy family, and they're all in this weird room, which looks like it's a nice room, but the mom pulls aside the curtain. She's like, there's like steel girders over the window. She's like, I don't get this place at all. And the little boy's sitting there wearing his stupid pumpkin mask, and they play the commercial, but not just the commercial, although we should play the commercial now.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9.
This time, Tim, it's not the countdown version. This is on tape. It's going to be what gets played on Halloween at 9 p.m., and so it's playing, and the little boy starts going like, ah, ah, and he's grabbing his head, and his, like you could see behind the pumpkin mash, like his head is like mushing or something.
Yeah.
And he hits the floor, and his head's kind of like black, and like the mom like just dies, right? She just screams like from heart.
Because snakes come out of this kid's mouth, and the snakes bite the parents. So
I know the snakes bit the dad. I thought the mom just died of a heart attack.
That could have
Not
been.
only does his head collapse, like so many bugs and then like poisonous snakes come pouring out of this head. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And like the snakes bite the dad, and the mom dies before that somehow. Maybe fright, maybe bugs.
Vader mask.
I wish Mr. T was big in this world, so I could have bought him a Mr. T mask. Even though he is a white child, dressing up as a black man might have been problematic. And so watching this on the screen, Dr. Charles is like, what the hell? And so then we learn the secret. Think back to the beginning. That missing stone of Stonehenge is there in the factory. And the robots are breaking little grains off. And in each grain, they stick one grain inside one of those medallions.
Okay.
And that's the final process. That's the final processing. And of course, everybody knows Stonehenge is a magical portal that makes snakes and bugs come out of you. And again, the big plan.
Why move it to America?
The big plan is he's like, I'm from an old country. We used to believe in Samhain, which even I know is Samhain. And he goes, we had rituals and such, and now I'm bringing it here. I am Irish and I'm evil. I'm going to kill everybody. That's the plot. He's going to kill everyone because Irish.
It could have been done in Massachusetts with witches. I didn't understand this whole Irish bringing the Stonehenge to America. He made robots. The robots could have traveled all over the world and put pieces of Stonehenge on people's clothes.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Like, why choose to do this in Northern California as opposed to Massachusetts? And why the Irish? Like, Stonehenge, if Stonehenge was something that was in Ireland, yeah. But you know where Stonehenge is not? Ireland.
Oh, that's right. It's in
England. Why not have him be an English guy? There is basically, I think the director hates Irish people. So we get this montage of the entire United States, which makes this justifies us taking a break because we see scenes in New York of kids wearing this, San Francisco, Omaha, Nebraska,
Boston.
Shitterberg, Boston. We do see Boston. We see Shitterberg, Louisiana, all these places.
Alabama.
All these kids. Halloween Day, it's getting later and later. So then we cut back to the doctor. He's taped to his chair, watching this all on the TV screen. He's got a mask on him too, because they're going to kill him. And the TV's going to play that scary thing at 9 when it happens, right? So what does the doctor do?
Kicks the TV.
Kicks the TV until
cuts himself open.
Yeah.
Out of the whatever, the ropes.
Out of the bonds.
Throws the mask on the camera.
There's kind of a weird scene where we see at least one of the robot guys is watching this happen and doesn't do anything.
No, he's telling Cochran, but Cochran's on a phone call with someone important, remember?
Oh, is that what's... You're right.
But before this, George, this is important.
Oh,
we get our last phone call to the dead body examiner.
Yep.
And she just still looking at ashes. And she goes, oh, my God. And she's trying to call the doctor, and one of those robot people comes in and drills her in the head. Again, drawing more attention to
yourself. Yep. I do feel like...
How did she know that those ashes were suddenly a burnt-up robot man? It's just ashes. And she goes, oh, my God. I'm going to tell you, George. I'm going to tell you.
It was gears, but let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I ruined this, but first she found a burnt-up ash hole.
No, you already ruined that joke. You already used that one.
The oil pan had skid marks. She didn't find any bolts, George, but she found 2 nuts. Ba-dum-bum. There you go.
These nuts? That was your list?
These nuts.
Tim, that sucked.
She found no bolts, but she found 2 nuts. Come on.
That sucked.
That's why it's a burnt-up robot man.
All right.
All right. So he gets out.
He calls.
and he
she tries
Ellie.
to call. He tries to call the lady. She gets killed. He calls his wife, who's like, "Shut up, you bad husband, you fucking jerk! I hate you. This is why I divorced you." So he's like, he always tries to say, like, "Please don't let our children, the fruit of our loins, watch TV. Get the word out." She's too busy shrieking at him like a harpy. So he hangs up. He frees Ellie. Then they grab a bunch of the chips, the medallions.
Just put that Mr. T mask on him. Take the damn pumpkin off their head.
And anyway. He does. He puts the Mr. T mask on, but it doesn't work without all the chains. If you don't have the chains, you just don't look like Mr. T. No. So then he and Ellie grab a bunch of those chips in a box.
He gets Ellie out of her bed.
Yeah. And they go up onto the skylight.
George. First, this becomes Die Hard, doesn't it? He goes into the
he's in the
air shaft.
Yeah.
I think Die Hard ripped this off. He had the light and everything.
He takes his shoes off for some scene.
He says, "Merry fucking Christmas."
He leaves that note on that one robot. He leaves that note on the robot. It says, "Now I have a box full of chips." So he takes the bag full of chips. He goes into the control room. He drops him through a skylight into the control room where all the robots are with Dr.
And they're playing the final countdown.
Well, he plays the final countdown. No, he plays the commercial that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're in there with all these chips. So I think the special effect was supposed to be laser shot all around, but they don't do that. All the robots just short out.
Yeah, because he drops the chips on them and it short circuits them.
And so they all the robots are dead, and the only one left is Cochran, because he's a real person.
And he claps.
But
he applauds him for doing that.
Does he really?
Yeah. He goes, "Well done. Well done, laddie." And he claps.
Hi, TJ. Then for reasons I don't understand, the rock of Stonehenge starts glowing and electricity arcs off it, and it hits Cochran, and he turns like all white. I'm like, is he turning into salt or something? And then he disintegrates or disappears, and then Chalice and Kay run outside the factory. The whole factory explodes.
Yeah, again, I don't know what's going on here.
So they get in the car. They're driving away. He's like, we got to call someone. And then Ellie looks at him funny. And at this point, I don't know. I was thinking like, she hasn't spoken since he rescued her.
I know.
And she suddenly attacks him because guess what? She's really a fucking robot. She's been replaced at some point.
She's
the real
all
Ellie's probably been blown up.
short-circuited.
Yep. They crash the car. And he gets in a fight with her, and he's struggling with her. She's trying to like rip his head off. He pulls her arm off.
Yep.
Then she comes at him again.
He's like,
and he knocks her head off.
I have disarmed you. Come on. You can't let that go by.
And then he says, now I'm going to head you off of the pass. And he takes her arm and knocks her head off. Then
her other hand has turned the radio to the soft rock station.
But wait, after her head gets off, then the body gets up again and attacks him.
That's true.
And then he fights that, and then the hand attacks him again. It just keeps happening. I'm like, is this ever? It's like the end of Lord of the Rings. It never ends.
Then her foot kicks him.
Then her other hand gives him a purple nurple.
Yes.
It's just so finally he can't get, he runs away. He's running down the street fast as he can, just like in the beginning.
Movie starts same place as it ends, the same place that it started. It's a circle.
And he gets right up to that guy Walter's house or shop again. And he's like, I need your phone. Walter's like, sure. And this is the most amazing part. It's like Halloween. There's kids coming to trick-or-treating.
Yep.
Walter's just sitting there watching TV.
And the ad comes on.
Well, the ad's going to be on. We see the clock. It's like 2 minutes to go. And Dr. Chalice is like, back then, folks, understand this. This is before cable, before all this stuff. There's only 3 channels back then. He calls the first network and he's hysterical. He's like, yeah, well, it's going to result in the deaths of millions. You got to pull the ad.
And he says, I don't have proof.
No, I don't have proof. But you know what? They pull it anyway. And then the guy turns to the next channel. He does the next channel. Same thing.
He's like, it's on the other channel. He never hangs up, though, does he? He's like on the line with the representatives of television or something.
I took that as like they were just frantically cutting those bits out to heighten the tension. But it's just you see him on the phone yelling more and more. And like he must be the best arguer in the history of the world.
I know.
That he's calling from Podunk gas station or whatever in Northern California, in the middle of nowhere.
Where all the Irish
He's able
are.
to convince where all the Irish are. So nobody respects them. He convinces 2 of the 3 major networks to pull this ad, which must be huge amounts of revenue.
Yes.
And the third one apparently doesn't, and the movie ends.
Well, it ends while we're waiting to find out. That's what I take it as.
I take it as all the kids die. I'll say this. Let's say a third of the kids die. Because some kids are like, if it ain't on ABC, I ain't going to watch it.
I know. Some of them wore their Mr. T. Or
he definitely
Dr. McCoy.
saves... He definitely saves some lights because like there's families watching it on some channel, right? And this is before remotes. The dad's not getting up for shit, and as they're waiting for the moment to happen. They start hearing the screams next door as all the snakes and bugs crawl out of the Wilson boy's face.
Well,
so
this year, George, it would have been Yoda masks. Sorry, this year Yoda.
I'm telling you, people were bummed out.
Yoda masks.
That would have been 1980. Movie came in the summer. 81, maybe still a few kids, but those kids got picked on. They're like, you're Yoda. That's last year's thing.
This year, Hunter from the Future. That would be the other one.
Oh. I keep going for water and I have water today.
Do you need to go get water?
No, I'm good. We're almost done.
Oh, my God. You know why this movie's like Star Wars? I like to tell people that, George. I like to tell people.
How's this movie like Star Wars?
Because Carpenter, when he made this, he wanted to make a remake of Flash Gordon. But the rights were all tied up. So he made his own version of Flash Gordon, called it Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Of course, Carpenter didn't make this film, but...
And if there'd been a sequel... He produced it, George. He produced it.
Oh, actually, he wrote it, too.
If there were a sequel, we would have found out that Dr. Chalice and Ellie were brother and sister.
Oh.
And she was underage. So it's real.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you pick up on that, Tim, because I like to compare how this movie is like 1986 fantasy masterpiece, Labyrinth. That movie stars as its centerpiece an underage girl who has a obsession with a much older man. In that case, Jennifer Connelly with David Bowie. So Dr. Chalice isn't quite a David Bowie.
But David Bowie was ageless. He was the eternal child.
Yeah, but the actor playing him was like he was like already
child.
like he's whatever. So, all right. Revenge.
Don't be so uptight, George. Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge.
One of us will die.
Let me do mine first because
That's why.
my sequel picks up. Oh, start the music.
Right.
My sequel picks up right where the movie ends. We just pick up with him still screaming on the phone. Dr. Chalice, he keeps screaming to the phone for this one channel to stop showing the commercial, and it works. That last channel stops showing the ad. But then he turns the channel and he sees there's PBS, George. That was another fourth station. PBS is doing a program about Halloween advertising, and they were showing the commercial of Silver Shamrock as part of their documentary. So he calls them and he says, no, I won't pledge you any money. And he tells them to shut down the commercial they're playing, and they do. So then he sees the local access cable access. That's for the community, George. They had that back then. Cable access is showing the commercial because they're making fun of it on a local comedy news show. And he has to tell them to shut it down, and they do just in time, George. Shut it down just in time.
Really, a lot of deflated tension here.
And then the gas station attendant turns on the radio, and he hears an ad playing on the radio. So the doctor calls the radio station and begs them to turn it off, and they do, George. And then he turns to another radio station, and they're playing.
Wait, does a Zeppelin fly by and it's got a banner like Silver Shamrock?
I almost did that. No. Then there's another station. It's playing Escape, the Pina Colada song. So he calls that station and begs them to stop playing that song, and they do, George.
That's weird because that's the anthem of the United States.
So then he sits and catches his breath after stopping all the places from playing the ad. But then he hears another radio in the gas station. And he finds out the gas station is a ham radio enthusiast. And he hears that on the ham radio, they're playing Escape, the Pina Colada song. But, and then they start playing the Shamrock commercial. And he gets on the horn and he tells them to stop it just in time. And they do. They stop it, George. Don't worry. So Chalice gets in his car, drives to his ex-wife's house because he's worried about his kids. But all his kids are fine. You want a question before I tell you this big climax? Okay.
His car is broken.
He stole the car.
Okay.
He knocked out Wallace. Was that Wallace at the gas station? Stole his keys, took his tow truck, went to check.
Did you give him a wedgie? Did you give him a wedgie too?
Yes, gave him a wedgie. Pulled his hat down over his eyes.
Oh no.
Tied his shoes together.
It's brutal.
Peed in the coffee. Did all of it. So he checks to see his kids are fine. And they're all fine. You see, George, they like those Silver Shamrock masks, okay, but when it came to Halloween, they wore the masks they really liked. They wore the masks of Michael and Stephanie from Grease 2, their favorite movie. The movie's called Turn On the Dark. Ta-da!
Wait,
so quick.
Was it
so quick?
That was relatively. Wasn't that the name of the Spider-Man musical?
It was.
All right. Good one, Tim.
George. Top that.
I will. I
quick.
will. Because here's the thing, Tim. Turns out the sequel I'm going to talk about, this motherfucking sequel already exists.
Come on. You can't just
Let
cheat.
me tell you. No, you are going to have your mind fucking blown. First, here's the music. There it goes. All right. A brief discussion of the rule of threes. When you're crafting a story, you often have incidents occur in 3. It's a good number. Once, that's just a one-off. 2, it's not quite a pattern. 3, we've established something. The rule of threes. This is Halloween 3 was the movie we saw. There are 3 networks he's trying to call to save the day, unless you count Tim's story where more and more strange media creep in. There are 3 different masks that he's trying to stop.
Yes, that's true.
But Tim.
and Ellie? You didn't see this, but Ellie only had 3 toes. That's something you don't know about the actor.
And she had 3 breasts. There was one on her back.
Okay.
But Tim, there was a 4th mask.
Oh, Mr. T.
Did you? No. Think about this seriously.
Pumpkin?
They went. If we think
Skull,
we have
witch?
pumpkin, we have skull, we have witch. What would be like the other big scary thing that
Ghost?
you would have? Well, ghost is just a sheet over your head.
Frankenstein?
No, that's the property of Universal.
Oh, Jack Ruby.
Yes, Jack Ruby, the assassin of No, clowns, a scary clown.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So because that's like when I think of masks, like that's like the one I always see. There's always people with scary clown masks. Cochran, as an evil Irishman, as all Irishmen are, he's aware of the appeal of clowns. He was working on a prototype clown mask. But for whatever reason, it didn't quite get into production. He was having production issues. People's orders were missing, stuff like this. So I want you to remember this, Tim.
Okay. I'll remember this.
This one prototype clown mask exists in Santa Mira, California. What Seddy Bimco movie have we done before where in the actual recording of this, I remark how odd it is that the action is set in the town of Santa Mira, especially because Santa Mira sounds like a very California name, but
Killer
said
Clowns from
movie,
Outer Space?
Not Killer Clowns, very close though.
I don't remember these episodes, George. It's the other one.
Beware the Clowns.
I don't remember. Sorry.
That all the action in Beware the Clowns takes place in Santa Mira. So here's what happened. Friend of the show, Tim Wallach, creator of that, made that movie. Probably as an homage, but this is this actual Revenge sequel. Because after that factory blew up, the people of Santa Mira, this destitute town, one man went into there. He found the one remaining prototype mask. He put that mask on, the clown mask. He was the John Wayne Gacy dad. John Wasey. The Clown King's father. So
That's right.
This is the prequel to Beware the Clowns.
Interesting.
And the revenge story is the Clown King who then goes to avenge his father after he's sent to live in the woods by the sheriff who kills his dad shortly before the events of this, after the events of this movie.
Are you recapping a movie we watched?
No, that's all I'm saying. Go listen to our Beware the Clowns episode to understand this all ties together. Santa Mira appears in both these places. This is the prequel to Beware the Clowns. Tim Wallach, if this is true, please write to us and confirm. Drop the mic. Bam!
I read that's unexpected.
Yep.
You blow my mind.
Yep.
I'm trying to be chill, but you're blowing
drooling.
my mind.
You're drooling.
No,
folks. You can't tell through the magic of editing. You can't tell this, but Tim just spent about 7 minutes upending his studio, flipping over furniture, tearing chunks of his hair out, ripping his shirt off. I'm pretty sure I saw him kick a cat. He doesn't even have a cat. The dude was unhinged by this revelation.
Sorry, everyone.
Yep.
I was gonna say I thought the fourth mask might be a leprechaun, a leprechaun mask. Why not go all the way?
Inexplicable to make Irish the bad guy, right?
Yep. Blow my mind.
Even if they'd somehow done it with like there was a type of pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern, okay, then the Irish thing. But to make it like masks, who has ever heard of an Irish entrepreneur? Like, it's just weird.
And he can make robots. So what would have happened if he didn't even do this? Would he just be a rich guy who made robots? I don't know.
There's a line where one of the people, I think Buddy's family says, he's one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, he's just evil.
His whole plan was just to be Irish and evil and kill fat millions of children.
Well, everybody.
Yep.
You saved Halloween. Yay.
Yay. Much better than our last Halloween film. I give it 3 thumbs up.
13 should fit into the ending, but it doesn't.
Public
TV where I grew up, it was Channel 13.
Yeah, I was about to say, in New York, it was Channel 13.
Ooh, it did come in. I missed it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Yeah. Tell your friends to listen to Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge.
Do we have any mail?
There is no mail. There's no mail today.
No mail.
Send us an email at seddybimco with an E at gmail.com. And go check out the blog. I drew something for this episode. Go check out a few weeks ago. George drew something for the episode we did about Asylum of Satan. That's 2 weeks ago. And
hey, maybe I'll draw something this week. Who knows? Maybe I'll draw Beware the Clowns.
That's it.
Yep.
Everybody out there, don't give up. That's my catch. That's my sign-off phrase.
Yeah, I noticed it's weird.
Sign-off phrase. Next week, we're going to watch something that's on YouTube. We're going to watch 1995's Frostbiter, Wrath of the Wendigo, because it was filmed in Michigan. I checked and double-checked. Filmed in Michigan, 1990. It's a Wendigo movie. Tune in next week. We got to get out of here.
I literally can't find where this movie is filmed.
On all the socials. Listen to us every Wednesday. Send in a drawing of George's story in case he doesn't draw it. All right? We're going to say goodbye, George?
Yeah.
Talk to us next week. I mean,
bye,
we'll watch
everybody.
Ant-Man. Bye. Okay.
Happy Halloween.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
Sucks.
What's his catchphrase? Do you remember? I don't remember. Mr. T.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
Mr. T had a catchphrase.
I pity the foo.
Yes. That's what he said to Paul McCartney.
God damn it, this sucks. Cut all this out.
You know what Paul McCartney said? That's what I said. That's what I said.
My God.
That's what I said to Pete Best.